Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll show you how I made this almost no-sew tutu, which I made for my 3-year-old niece for Christmas. I used tulle and some elastic. First thing was to collect together my tulle, which I got from eBay. I then also collected the other things that I needed, which was some elastic, a tape measure, some scissors, and I did also use a sewing machine briefly, but you can also use needle and thread. I started off by cutting my tulle into strips. My pieces were already about 6 inches wide, and I knew I wanted the skirt to be about 15 inches long, so I cut the strips somewhere around 31 or 30 inches. It wasn't super precise, but as long as they were all roughly the same length. In total, I actually cut out about 83 strips, so I did need to use quite a lot of the tulle. I then cut my piece of elastic, which just needs to be the measurement of the waist of the person who's going to be wearing it. So I went with 22 inches, so it's their waist measurement plus about another inch, because when you sew it, you need that seam allowance. So this was the only sewing I did, and I used my sewing machine, but you can also use needle and thread. You just need to make sure the sewing is strong enough. I then got my pieces of tulle together and attached them to my elastic band, which was the waistband. I put the elastic band around a piece of card, which did make it easier for me to work with. Then I just started attaching the strips of tulle. So in order to do that, you take the strip and fold it in half, and then you get the loop at the top, put it underneath the elastic, and then feed the 2 legs or extra bits of fabric through that loop, and then you just pull it tightly so it fastens onto the elastic. It's pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. The only thing that you do need to make sure you're doing is doing them all in the same direction. So it doesn't really matter which direction you do them in, but if you do them in different ways, then you're going to end up with some of them with the fabric pointing to the left and some with the fabric pointing to the right, and then it's going to be a bit of a mess. So I just carried on doing that all the way around the elastic, and as I was going, I tried to squeeze together the tulle on the elastic to make sure I was getting them tightly packed on there as possible. The more strips of tulle you add, the more voluminous the skirt will be. It also means that the elastic band is completely covered up. You could try and use tulle in the same colour as your elastic band, or cover the elastic band in some other fabric to make it more attractive, but I think that makes it more complicated, and it didn't really bother me that much if there was some of the black visible. But the more tulle strips I was able to add, the more that was covered up, and as I said, the more voluminous the skirt was. I didn't really have a fixed pattern or idea of what colours I wanted to use, apart from that I wanted it to be mostly blue because that's her favourite colour, with just a little bit of pink and the kind of golden orange colour in there just as an accent to make it more interesting. The tulle strips are not the softest fabric in the world, so if a child is going to be wearing this, then they would probably need to wear some leggings or some tights underneath. So that was always my intention when I gave it to her. Because most kids do wear leggings and tights. Once I'd attached all the tulle onto the elastic, I just decided that I wanted to neaten up the edges of the fabric. Now you could do this when you were first cutting it out, but I didn't. I decided to use my pinking shears, which had the zigzag scissors, to cut the ends of all the fabric pieces, and that's because I wasn't planning to do it super neatly. If I'd used my straight edge scissors, I think it would be more obvious when I hadn't done it in a straight line, whereas because the pinking shears are already zigzag, it doesn't matter if they're not perfect because it's not going to be a straight line anyway. The easiest way I found to do this was just taking the strip of tulle, folding it into about 4 pieces, and then just cutting them all in one go. And then the skirt was done. So it's pretty easy, and this is just a few pictures, a few close-ups of the waist. And this is the skirt hanging from the washing line. I'm afraid I didn't have my niece or any other tiny model, so I couldn't actually model it myself, obviously, because I couldn't fit into it. So hopefully you can get the gist from that picture. If you've liked the video, please like, and if you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe, and I do sewing, crafts, book reviews and planning videos.